A Franklin County judge has issued a 14-day temporary restraining order halting the state from using $600 million in unclaimed funds for the Cleveland Browns to build a new stadium. Former Ohio Attorney General and attorney Mark Dan has been fighting for this pause from the court because of the lengthy process to get access to unclaimed funds. He joins me now with more on this ruling. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's more than a lengthy process. I mean, this is an unconstitutional taking under the Ohio Constitution, which is where we were in state court today, and also under the federal Constitution. The government can't take your money first of all, unless it's for a public purpose, and I think there's a real question about whether building a stadium for a billionaire is a public purpose. And then secondly, even if there is a public purpose, they have to compensate you for that, and they have to offer you the opportunity to be heard, so that you're entitled to due process of law. This statutory enactment that steals unclaimed funds money to give to the Cleveland Browns and other sports teams simply doesn't pass constitutional muster, and that's what the judge found today. Yeah,
walk us through what the decision that was made and the impact that it now has.
Yeah, so on January 1st, the General Assembly authorized the director of the Department of Commerce to transfer $1.7 billion of money that the state's been holding in their, really it's a lost and found account, to the state general treasury to be reallocated to sports teams. Now, $600 million of that was specifically earmarked for the Brown Stadium in Brook Park, the dome stadium that they want to build. And then there's another $1.1 billion that's going to be available to other pork barrel projects as the General Assembly, I suppose, sees fit in the future.
So what happens after 14 days? What decision has to be made next?
So next that was called the temporary restraining order, which lasts for 14 days, can be extended by the court if necessary. On January 8th, we're going to have a hearing to determine whether or not that a preliminary injunction should issue, and that would be for the life of the case. So that would say to the state, you can't transfer this $1.7 billion. You can't change the title of it from Ohio citizens to the state of Ohio, which is what they want to do, until this case is decided. And that'll give the judge a chance to look at our constitutional arguments to see whether or not this whole taking is constitutional, whether the state can take the money of Ohio, safety deposit boxes that have been liquidated, or stocks that people forgot about, or life insurance proceeds from grandpa that were never collected, that have been sent to the state, whether the state can take those and use it for its own purposes. And we think that it can't. And so once that's done, we've asked the court to permanently enjoin the state from following this process, unless and until they compensate the people who have money in that fund. And also importantly, that they give those people individualized notice. Right now, if you have $50 or less in that fund, the state provides no notice to you at all. And that money then, if it was more than 15 years ago, is just going to go into this slush fund that the General Assembly created. And so you're just SOL, as they would say in the Mahoning Valley.
Right. Attorneys representing the state have argued that no one's harmed by the transferring of the funds, since they can be claimed until 2036. But if the $600 million is going to go to the new Brown Stadium, will the state actually have to have a way to pay Ohioans if they want to claim those funds?
Well, and they admitted this today in the hearing, which was really quite remarkable. They're intending to use other people's unclaimed funds to pay those people that make claims between 2026 and 2036. So the state's not going to dip into its own pocket to do it. They're going to dip into my pocket or the pocket of other people who have money in those accounts.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see again how this plays out. Thank you so much, Attorney Mark Dan. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.